Why don't we talk about? Let's talk about Geeta. Do you have a sport that is? What's your second sport? It's football.
Yes.
What's your third sport?
Golf.
Oh, okay. Cool. What's that all about?
Are we going to talk about that Tiger Woods video? That 2-second clip of him. He may not have even done anything. It could have been an old clip for all we know.
Welcome to Putts on Net, a golf-based podcast that talks about fancy stats.
But guys, he's winning the next Masters.
We get a lot of shots. Everybody come to the net. We just have to get more and more pucks to the net.
I'm about to listen to Pucks on Net.
Give me a hell yeah!
We used to talk about in Vancouver getting pucks on net.
Pucks on net. What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
This is JT Miller with the Vancouver Canucks.
What?
And you're listening to Pucks on Net.
Why, hell yeah!
Pucks on net and driving it, making it a hard night on them.
Live on tape from a myriad of locations. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast that doesn't talk about fantasy stats, but more than likely will talk about fancy stats tonight. Another satellite hot stove edition of the podcast coming at you. My name is Ryan Schaap. I'm going to be your host for the evening, coming to you in my apartment above the old haunted Burger King. Where everybody is back. You head over that Ironworkers Memorial Bridge to the literal House of Greed. Miss Geeta, ready? You are back. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I'm sorry you guys didn't get to see my Christmas lights display.
There's a Christmas lights display?
Yeah, we're really keeping up with the Joneses here.
You have to. It's one of the main things about living in North Van is you got to have a nice Christmas setup, and if you don't, district comes by and yeah, well, we're gonna need you to leave.
Yeah.
Sorry, you don't fit the vibe of North Vancouver. We love Christ here.
And speaking of loving Christ, heading east to the village.
No, don't
village
get
of
this.
Deep Cove. Right. Prince of Pomegranate himself, Mr. Arash Mamarzadeh. Arash, how are you this dreary November evening? It's dark. It's miserable. Everybody woke up tired. We watched far too many Canuck games this week. How are you doing?
I mean, full apathy, I think. I've reached peak apathy.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think I've just reached a point where I'm what am I doing with my life?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really I know I asked for this, but holy Ryan, you went to the Winnipeg game. I went to the Chicago game and the Colorado game last week. Man, at least sitting in the 300s, it was you can feel that if one of those games wasn't a 1-goal game or 1 or a 2-goal game,
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they were sending Crazy P. The guy who bangs the thing.
Yeah.
They did not send him to the lower bowl once.
No. And they needed to make some noise. They were not adhering to the graphics.
Oh, they were I saw more Crazy P than I actually saw professional hockey being played.
I hear a fire betting chant in section 324. Can we get Pete there?
Yeah.
Main elevator. Give him express service. He needs to get there and drown that out.
It's crazy. They better be playing that guy double time. He was just going through every section. I'm listen. I don't know if it's Red Bull.
Well, what was it? Was it you open your mouth and suddenly he's there?
Yes. Yeah. No. Multiple times that happened. He stayed within our section for 2 periods.
Arash is I'm not too happy with this power play. I'm not being mean. Give me a break.
You're whispering and he's right there in between you and your friend.
Yeah, our Mamarzadeh cam dictates that he's opening his mouth. Crazy Pete, we're going to need you to get the 328 ASAP. Thank you.
Pete, 328 on 2. 328 on 2. Swarm.
Okay. We don't... Sweet Caroline is not prepped. I repeat, not prepped. Crazy Pete, go to 328. No, it was just it was really demoralizing, and I think one of the greatest frustrations is that we're just sitting here. We know what needs to happen. And other organizations in the NHL and other fan bases know what needs to happen.
Literally every fan base
They're
and
like,
media
what
outlet
the
is
hell?
talking about
Yeah.
what needs to happen.
Dude,
It's-
we
It's
sorry to interrupt.
embarrassingly comical.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but we've let off 32 thoughts two episodes in a row. Like Elliot and Jeff are just like, hey, let's
You
Vancouver's
don't
about to
even need like 32 of them. One thought. One thought is enough, and I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and it's just really demoralizing, and they come out and they're 5-9-1, and they say, oh, the homestand, and then they win one game on the homestand. Like, oh, now it's the road trip. It's like, dude, do you understand the pace? Like the pace that not only this team needs to go on in the future to make up the ground, but also. Is this the worst that, like, is this bottom for how bad they can play, or can they keep continually getting worse? And even if they do reach a higher play or a higher peak, or, some of the players start scoring, like, guys, this isn't a playoff team. Like, this might be a wild card bubble team.
Right.
But the construction of it is like, what are we, 8 years of it.
But like, funny you even say that, like, the players don't even want to be a part of what this is right now. Why would they?
No.
Like, could you imagine getting on a roll, and what are they playing for? Because
No, it's like if they get on a roll and they win three or four games in a row, they're optimistic, but they're just like, man, we still have to play for this
it's
clown show.
it's such a bad culture right now. It's not like the team is bad, but it's because of everything around it. It's so toxic.
Well, yeah.
I love looking at the Canucks Twitter when they're trying to put content out. And when they're not spelling words like the team name incorrectly, they're trying
When they're
their
not
best
calling
to
their fan base a bunch of cucks.
literal cocks.
Literally,
Yeah.
that's what they did, and they're like, "Oh, we're not gonna."
But they're showing the players enter the arena in their suits, and even the players are just like, "Why do you have to take my photo right now? Please don't." And that's how you find folks feel when I hit record.
Like,
on
you
Zoom.
get the feeling that they're almost embarrassed to put that jersey on now.
You ain't. I would not disagree with you in the slightest right now, Geeta.
Like Travis Green is a man who's begging to be fired.
I don't think he's big. Yeah, I mean, like
8 or 9 times out of 10, we probably would have won that game.
No, it's
but
just
we didn't.
like, what, guys? Realistically, at this point, this is like, what is Travis Green supposed to do?
Nothing.
What is
That's
Jim-
not what
what
I'm
is-
saying.
what is,
That's not what
you
I'm
know-
trying to say. It's that you kind of know when you're done somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He can't resign as the coach. I mean, he could, but he can't, and he won't.
He can't collect NHL EI if he
yeah.
quits.
But
There's no
but he
head
knows
coach, sir.
he's done. Like, he's a, what is it? A sitting goose, lame duck.
He's a sitting duck. He's a silly goose, that Travis Green.
think
He's that. Like, he's powerless. He knows he's not going to turn this around. He's not
No.
the one to turn it around. It's not his fault.
No, of course not. And I think he's just like, I don't think he has much of a desire to try to turn it around to salvage whatever plan or lack thereof this organization has.
He's now caught up in something really bad that solely is the responsibility of two other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
but
Travis.
let's,
That's Travis's. That's sorry. I just feel bad. I do feel bad for Travis, and I also feel very bad again, Yerky. Sorry, but I feel bad for Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Like is the owner, is the family that owns this team coming up to a press conference in front of media? No. Are they getting on radio stations? No.
But we
Oh,
also
they tweeted once.
They tweeted
Many months
once.
ago.
They tweeted once, and Francesco came in on October 13th to 6:50, and now they have to trot out JT Miller, Travis Green, and Jim Benning over and over and over and over, and they are getting eviscerated over and over and over. And it's like, dude, you are literally allowing this thing to bleed out from 20 fucking gunshots to the body instead of having just be sympathetic. Like you said, we talked about Brian Burke.
Yeah.
It's like I can't let Ron Wilson go through that.
No,
and
like I'm under the belief that I don't need to hear from the owner. The less we hear from the owner, the less the owner is connected to this team, the better in all instances. Except when you have a bunch of guys that are waiting for you to give them their walking papers, then just do it.
Because this is an owner that's been too involved. Let's say what it is. This is an owner that interfered too much. This is not even a desirable GM and coaching job anymore. Like, no, there's nobody, usually you hear that the scuttlebutt and using all sorts of terms that I would normally use. But you hear like there's rumblings that they're speaking to so-and-so. They're not speaking to anyone.
Yeah. Nobody, it's all.
No one wants,
silent.
this is not a sexy place to come and work right now.
I think their plan was fairly clear, like in their heads. Like we have to talk about reality in terms of what their reality is.
Okay.
Right? Their reality was, we made these changes. All these analytic-based models said that we weren't going to be a playoff team, but we look at things differently, and we added Connor Garland and Jason Dickinson and OEL, and if we get the same kind of goaltending and Petey and Quinn take another step, okay, we can make some noise. And then also we brought Daniel and Henrik as, assistant advisors to the regional manager. And now they're getting kind of their feet wet and deciding, it's like taking general studies in university, right? Do you want to take English 100? Do you want to take philosophy 100? Henrik, Daniel, do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And the timing was, okay, well, Jim and Travis have 2 years. And in the span of, or Jim has 1 year, but Travis has 2. In the span of those seasons, we're gonna fight for a playoff spot, and that'll be whatever, and the temperature won't be as bad as we originally thought. And in that time, after that's done, Daniel and Henrik should probably be ready to step in and take over for that. What ended up happening was that, there was just, I don't know, the entire world imploded. All the multiverse timelines in this Marvel story converged into one point where all of their mistakes, all of their wrongdoings, everything in terms of what's happening in the room with the players, the coaching, general manager, everything kind of just happened all at once. And now they're saying, probably thinking from what we're reading is there might be a president of hockey ops being put in to bridge Jim into Daniel and Henrik, maybe. Ben Kuzma reports maybe an hour ago that the Wild have contacted the Canucks in terms of JT Miller, being like, well, we might trade Kevin. Well, we have Kevin Fiala. You have JT Miller. We need a center, which, arguably.
Well, JT Miller's had his 2 years in the franchise, and he's turned it upside down positively and negatively, and now it's time to go somewhere else and do the exact same. He's done this twice before.
I mean, you look at what Kuz is reporting in terms of Fiala, in terms of Kevin Fiala, who's the supremely super talented winger who has a type of confidence that rubs people the wrong way. Does that remind you of anyone on our
problem?
Yeah. You're trading. I mean, JT's a UFA in 2 years. Kevin Fiala has 1 more year at $5.1 million, and then he's still an RFA. So you have control in that, and Minnesota probably has to add something else. If that's Jordan Greenway, if that's a second, whatever that is.
Still kicking the can down the road a bit,
right.
And it doesn't address the defense. It does, and it's times like this where I really wish that locker rooms were open. I really wish that the locker rooms were open, so that there were some media members allowed to go in there and, to kind of have some off the record talks with some of their players and to see what's going on.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more at this time. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, PucksNetCA or PucksNetCa. If you want to buy the naming rights, you go to patreon.com/PucksOnNet. If you do want to support us monetarily and pledge a couple of bucks,
couple of draft picks, please.
A couple of draft picks, $5 to be exact, a month or more to get instant access to all our bonus content. And we have a new Patreon backer this week, Roger R. Smith, regular listener, regular question asker and contributor. So thank you very much for your support, and we appreciate it a great deal. And with that, he'll be able to listen to 5 minutes for paying. He'll be able to get video access to video podcasts and bonus episodes and all that lovely jazz. That's patreon.com/pucksonnet. And you can also get access to our Pucks on Net Discord server. So if you haven't joined that yet, sign on up. We're all there. It's been pretty quiet right now as apathy kind of seeps into the Canucks fan base. But we all knew that would happen.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in limbo and we're waiting, and I think, we're just past the yelling, angry point. We're kind of in this befuddlement.
Do you think we could be waiting till next summer?
No. Do
you promise?
No, I promise. Listen, if this keeps going on the way that, like
I'm scared.
No, don't be. I wouldn't. Listen,
it was happening in January, and it was bad by March.
I mean, to be fair, it
happened since October.
Their record last
October.
year at this same time and the amount of games played, they had a better record last year.
And that was Tyler Toffoli, a lover scorn, doing everything he could.
Yeah, think about that for a second. Yeah. Last year, we had no idea that things could ever get worse than the beginning of that year. And here we are. And the thing I can promise you is that the people that I believe the most in this entire story is the fan base. I believe that if this continues down the road that it is, ticket sales, there's a large group of people that are still writing this, I'm going to a hockey game after a pandemic energy.
That's us.
That's us. And then that's
all we've been doing.
And that's gonna wean off. December might still be strong just with season ticket corporate gifting and all this stuff. But if we go into the new year and they have to rely on the hardcore fan base, that's going to be the people that are left going to those games. And if they keep going on like this, this is a ticking time bomb. This is if any of those, the Colorado game or the Vegas game happened on home ice, it would have imploded. But they had close games in their homestand, relatively close games. And the Chicago game didn't really help because it was one goal and they had
it was one goal against.
No.
That is a game that should have been loud. That should have been vocal. And I brought my paper bag on Friday and I didn't wear it because they had the lead.
Right.
But we're gearing up. Oh, when they get to Rogers Arena, the fans are going to tear them apart. There's going to be jerseys on the ice. There's going to be waffles. There's going to be blueberries for those waffles. Everything's going to go to hell. The fans are going to lose it. And what happened? Well, there was a smattering. Oh, if you were in 312, you could hear this chant. If you were in 111, you could hear that chant. I was there on Friday night. I didn't hear anything. People are just...
But I don't know, we were is anyone really expecting it to get really rough?
Yeah.
No, because we are, not to cut you off, Arash, but we are a laid back West Coast, go with the flow type of fan base and a group and a culture of people. And are we pissed off about it? Yeah. Are we going to go make a bunch of noise and join the 10 people outside Rogers Arena to protest? I don't know about that.
Ryan, I love you. Gonna disagree. I don't know about the Winnipeg game. The Colorado game, there were audible firebending chants from both sides of the 300s.
Okay.
There were people bringing signs. There were people bringing paper bags.
And
that was a game that up until the third period when their PK fell off the face of the earth, it was close. And as long as these games are, this is the thing, as long as these games are close or at least somewhat competitive, you're not going to get that extra oomph from the, I got these tickets for free crowd. But as soon as they come in and they lay a 5-0 egg and their record is, 8-14 and whatever.
I disagree with Arash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm more on the side of Brian. I'm also we were like, the build up to that Colorado game was that, oh, they're going to make a change because they're going to see the fans' reaction. There was fan reaction, as you're trying to tell me, because you were there. Nothing came of that fan reaction because, you know what? We've seen this before. We've seen it repeatedly. Mm-hmm. They're not going to make a change. So why would you bring that same energy the next night and the next night? You're just like, we're so defeated.
Well, the last time that
I know you're going to reference those Fire Gillis chants. It was during one game in the end of the season when the team was supposed to be a playoff contender, and it was faint. The clip's on YouTube. It's not the whole arena in a chorus of boos. It is a smattering, and I think that is overblown in my opinion.
I feel like it's no different than when they scream, "You suck, ref."
No, everybody hates the refs.
It's just as meaningless. It doesn't matter. The ref's still going to make a bad call. They're still going to probably call another game.
Yeah, I still think that this is an ownership in a group that cares a lot about their brand and how they're seen and how they're perceived.
If they did, they would not have let it go as long as they have.
No, they're letting it go because it is them. That's the thing. It's that what's happening right now.
What do you mean it's them? As in they're the problem?
It's their baby. It's their idea. This is the road they chose to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are an owner, if you're anyone in life and you need to will something to be like, if you are the head person and you go down a path and you're trying to will something into existence,
right?
And everyone around you is telling you, no, it's not. If it's analytical based models, if it's other management groups, if it's people around and they're saying it can't be done, you can't tell yourself, well, I'm not as smart as I think I am, or this path that I went down. At one point, it just needs to be like, okay, I'm now, unless it's like a very confirmed moment that, on, what was it, on Wednesday night was the national broadcast, guys. And those faint fire betting chants showed up on TSN. They showed up on Sportsnet. They showed up on feeds everywhere. And they went and they won a game against Winnipeg. And then they had the Chicago game, which is like, okay, well, it's one goal. It's all about optics. As soon as it comes down to them coming home with that record and they get shellacked in a game that's completely embarrassing,
how many times are we going to say this? When they come home with this record, when they come home with that record.
I mean, I don't think it's a matter of analytics. Who gives a damn about analytics? If something is not working and it hasn't worked for a long time and you keep trying it, why are you trying the same thing over and over again, thinking that it's going to change and work?
The people that don't care about analytics are the people that are running this team. And analytics are not a perfect model.
But you don't need, I'm not saying, don't bring analytics into this argument. Just look at what's happening on the ice. It's not working. Why are you trying it again?
Yeah, I'm bringing analytics, Geeta, into this argument of like, sorry, I think there's a little bit of confusion. The reason
there is.
The reason I'm bringing analytics is I'm telling you that multiple people brought analytical models before the season, showing that this team wasn't good enough. They ignored those analytical models, which, again, analytical models are not perfect.
But I'm actually saying, yes, continue to ignore those analytics. Look at what is happening and do something differently.
Yeah, if you look at those advanced metrics, like this team is performing so terribly, and you don't have to go to natural stat trick at the end, an intermission to see like they're performing abysmally. And the problem is, it's just like Arash touched on. You have an extremely passionate and stubborn ownership group that put this together and is expecting it to work. Mm-hmm. And anybody else probably in their position who wouldn't be that involved would look at it and say, this isn't working. We're going to make a change. Mm-hmm. But you have these guys who are also maybe a bit of in a cheapskate mode following a pandemic. Well, if they just get it on the tracks, we won't have to pay out $2.5 million to somebody and then pay somebody else. We don't have to write 2 paychecks for one job.
Right.
And it's just this stubbornness that is all coming into this apathy environment and fan base that we just, it's not working on. It's not working at all. And it's like Arash said at the top, we're all tired of this.
Mm-hmm.
But we have been quite impassioned about this because we've been talking for about 25 minutes, and I haven't even hopped into my segment, which has been newly minted. And because, we're out with the old, in with the new.
Rename it again.
It's
like you do everything.
All right, so this is my reminted segment, and I was able to identify when something wasn't working, unlike the owners of the Vancouver Canucks. So this is and it's quite fitting for the Vancouver Canucks because I'm now calling this my Schaapy Ending, and more significantly, so much for my Schaapy Ending, which Avril Lavigne will sing to you.
So much for my Schaapy Ending. So much for my Schaapy Ending.
Western Conference looks a bit strange right now. We're almost a quarter of a way through the regular season, and we're at the unofficial measuring stick of whether your team will make the playoffs. If they're currently in a playoff spot, there's about a 75% chance that they're going to make the playoffs. This rant really applies to the Pacific Division. I don't expect Colorado to be a bubble team through the regular season, but hey, stranger things have happened. The Pacific Division was supposed to be an easy cakewalk that the Canucks would finish third in, behind Vegas and maybe Edmonton. Fans and local media assumed the Canucks would take 6 steps forward after taking 2 big steps back in 1920 and the 21 shortened season. Sprinkle in a few Coyotes, ship out some expiring deals. It's almost too easy for them. The egregious assumptions made before the season weren't about how good the Canucks were supposed to be, but for how bad the Pacific Division was supposed to be. Unlike the Canucks, their division rivals haven't spent the last 3 or 7 seasons swirling around in confusing mediocrity. They have been cultivating talent, adding significant pieces, and simply having a plan. The Anaheim Ducks weren't supposed to be any good anytime soon. Neither were the LA Kings. Little did we know, they drafted well, they signed dynamic players, and they developed these prospects and paired them with veterans who knew how to make the most of their time in the show. The exact same can be said to the Anaheim Ducks. Troy Terry sits 4th in NHL scoring behind Alex Ovechkin with 22 points and has just as many goals as Connor McDavid, while old man Ryan Getzlaf, old Yeller, sits 2nd in assists in the league with 18. Hell, even the Sharks are playing solid hockey, and we all assumed the locker room was a cesspool, and there was no way Jonathan Dahlen was going to be a top 6 performer. Oh, wait. Meanwhile, in Calgary, Jacob Markstrom might be making $6 million for about 2 or 3 years too many, but we're looking at a team that has bought in and believes in Daryl Sutter's system. The team was supposed to win every game 2-1, but now Johnny Hockey and Elias Lindholm are in the top 10 in NHL scoring, while the Flames, as a team, have a combined 7 shutouts, including 5 from our handsome Jacob Markstrom. It's kind of comical looking back now that for a lot of our preseason predictions were entirely based on the Canucks performing just fine, or maybe even adequately, while the rest of the division was supposed to be a tire fire. But 19 or so games into the NHL regular season, it's very clear that the tire fire is currently nestled between the Dunsmuir and Georgia viaducts, while proper rebuilds, retools, and player development are happening just about everywhere else. If you think about it, it was always, they'll finish 3rd, there's so many problems in the division, and now it's the exact opposite, and, Canuck fans and media, and probably the team itself was thinking, here's where we were on before the pandemic, now with all, everything back to normal, everything's going to be fine, everything's going to be fine and dandy, and you'll get those wins you'll go to California and get those wins, and now they're sitting with just a handful of points above Seattle, and
Yeah.
Well,
I want them to have that oh shit moment that everybody else has now caught up and then surpassed us. Well, we did nothing. But I don't think they'll even have that, and everyone else has caught up and surpassed them.
Accurate.
Well, now we're talking about, the word out today is that, Kevin Fiala's on the move. The Wild have inquired about JT Miller. And, you're listening to, national media go, now is the time where the Canucks need to not make a trade that's going to, screw things up for the next 10 years. And it's just...
Well, it definitely feels like Sharks are circling. Not the Sharks, but Sharks.
It's probably the Sharks. I mean, San Jose is most likely Logan Couture just being like, holy crap, this is free pad in my stats. I don't know. I'm until stuff changes. I'm just like I'm a little checked out.
That's fair.
It's just you should. Everyone should be checked out. I think fans should be checked out. They're questioning your intelligence. They're testing how far they can stretch you, and it's like you know what? Let them fucking do what they need to do and to figure this out because it's hard.
A trade won't fix
a trade. I mean, they have way too many holes to trade it to fix it with one trade. I mean, they're probably trying to figure.
But they're going to have that knee jerk reaction and then send off Brock Besser to Minnesota because that's the only place he can be traded to. Apparently,
everyone wants to make that happen. You know, they want that romance thing to happen. So, we'll see.
Of all of the game, we won't spend too much time on the Canucks because there is stuff going on. But Sunday night the Canucks are playing the Chicago Blackhawks. The Chicago Blackhawks played Saturday night. The Chicago Blackhawks played most of Sunday's game with 5 defensemen. One of those 5 remaining defensemen is Seth Jones, that if you put an ISO cam on there, you will question, how was he ever able to skate and move?
You put an ISO cam on Seth Jones, and it's like, hey, shouldn't somebody put out that fire? Just standing there on the middle ice. Everyone's...
And it was like the Canucks played Saturday night. It looks like the Canucks were playing with 5 defensemen, and it was one of the more abysmal efforts. And honestly, I was a little worried where Arash was because I messaged the group chat like, okay, what's the pod logistics for Monday? And he was, took a while to reply, and I'm like, I would understand if I was in person watching that abysmal effort that they called hockey.
Yeah, it was rough. I think a lot of people are more interested in like hanging out and drink. They're treating Rogers Arena less like they're going to go watch a hockey game and more like you're hanging around a bunch of people drinking and having, talking the shit.
Yeah.
That's what the vibe was, at least.
The way we used to go to like Lions and Whitecaps games.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the BC Lions. Oh, we're going to talk. Let's take a 30-second aside to talk about the BC Lions. Their last regular season game, I saw a photo where it was like maybe they had like 2,000 people in BC Place.
Oh, I think it was I think they played on Friday night. Yeah, they played on Friday night during a Canucks game in a mean nothing last game of the regular season for the Lions. Like, I felt bad for anybody that had to go to that one.
Okay, I got a perfect thing for both of you, since you both are football people and I'm not. Because
love the pigskin, baby.
I don't like. I'm Muslim. I can't touch it. Yeah, look.
You're not supposed to eat the football.
What? Well, my brothers taught me wrong when I was a child. How do you fix in like 30 seconds to 45 seconds? How do you fix the CFL?
Oh my god!
No, actually, I'm super curious because I have my.
Do you add an extra down?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think 3-down football is like, hey, you got to go for it, but
it's bad football. Yeah. And the majority of people that are clamoring, and this is 30 seconds, but all the people that are young in this country like the NFL more than the CFL. All you need to do is turn into an NFL feeder system. You keep all the team names. You make it 4-down NFL rules. Everybody loves it. Everybody thrives.
Is the down the problem though?
Is the what?
Is like that adding an extra down the thing that's going to fix the CFL?
Wait, are you asking, or do you have an answer? Like, do you have a solution?
How do I have a solution? I have no idea. I don't know. Every time I hear about the CFL, like in 2021, at one point, someone probably yells at me, and this is probably a person who's in their 60s. We gotta bring back Dave Dickinson and Casey Printers, man. And I'm like, dude, that was like 2004. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the last time anyone cared about the CFL.
They love it in like the prairies, and they don't see anything wrong with it.
There's nothing else to do when you've been starving your entire life, and someone comes to the prairies and gives you a Triscuit. You're gonna be like, I love you, thank you so much. And it's then you go to like Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal, and then you see like MLS and you see the NHL and whatever, and you're like, whoa, that sure looks good. And then the Blue Bombers people and the Rough Riders people are like, don't you dare. I'm so curious because it's such a Canadian thing, and I want Canadian sports to.
I'm sure you guys saw that poll that was I forget who did it, but the one about which team in like the Pacific Northwest is the closest to a championship, and it was the Canucks, the Lions, the Seahawks, or the Mariners or something. And I really did appreciate Yerke's answer that it's the Lions because of the however many games they have and the fact that there's so few teams that by default they have to make the playoffs.
Probably. Jesus Christ.
Hell, the East. If you're in the East, you can make the playoffs in the West. Everybody gets in
Schaapy,
there.
I got an idea. Why don't you call your dad right now? Do this. I swear to God. I swear to
My
God.
dad doesn't give a shit about the CFL.
That's a lie.
That's
a lie. I love your dad, but there is no way your dad doesn't at least care a little bit about the CFL.
I grew up. That's why I don't give a damn about the BC Lions, because you need to have that beaten into you with a ball pin hammer at a young age that you need to care about 3-down football, and it's just not the case.
So you're telling me if we called your dad and put him on speakerphone, and we asked, "Hey, Dad, question." On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you care about the CFL? He wouldn't at least say like a 6.
Do you want me to do it?
My dad totally would.
I have one more Canuck thing that we want to talk about, and then we'll wrap up the Canucks for the show.
Good, because
the paparazzi were out in full force on Saturday night. What we saw was what looked to be Francesco Aquilini sitting at a very small table, wearing a lot of winter gear with Elias Pettersson. It looked like they were just coming or just going from a meal, but everybody made their own narrative to this.
Best part. Imagine if it wasn't even them.
They're decoys. Arash, what are your thoughts on what was allegedly documented over the weekend?
I have one take for this, and it should be the only take. And if anyone disagrees with it, I've come down to Pomegranate. I'll fight you. The Canucks players and management and ownership, when they are outside of playing that role, like when they are outside the rink and when they are outside of media availability and when they are just being normal people, like Elias Pettersson is just being another kid from Sweden.
Yeah.
You need to respect that. Like, I get it. You're upset. I'm pissed. Everyone should be pissed. But if Jim Benning is buying groceries at a Whole Foods, or I don't know, Francesco and Elias are having like a coffee talk.
Yeah.
Don't invade that space. Just don't. It can wait 12 hours. It can wait 12 hours for a media person to go and be like, hey, now that you're back on the clock on your job and you're being the persona that we need you to be, answer these questions. But, like, don't hurt. Stop, because it's such a stupid, slippery slope. It's such a slippery slope. Like, just don't.
Arash, and then, sorry to cut you off, but and then you become the Toronto media or Toronto fans that go and scour through golf course registries and look for names. Oh, Mitchell Marner had a reservation after the game.
Steven
shows how much he
Stamkos
cares.
was here. Oh, man. You know, I don't know. When I saw that,
You're
I'm
like you and I are allowed to have a bad day at work and go for dinner. So are they.
They're allowed to exist outside. Like I said, like their personas are one thing, but they are people. At the end of the day, no matter how much you disagree with them, listen, unless they're like a complete terrible waste of a human being and they are actually causing harm and stuff like that, then maybe, go up to them or whatever, make your voice, maybe in that instance, and it's completely dependent. But like this is a sports team.
Yeah.
Like just I don't know. Just don't be that person. You don't need to be the person that takes the photo to get the likes to feel the relevance. Like don't do that. They're going to be available for you to eviscerate them when they're on the clock at morning practice, all the way through the game, all the way from pregame, postgame, after hours game. But just if you see them living, like, let them live.
Yeah.
Because guess what?
Right.
The chances of you accosting them and them going the next day and being like, man, I got accosted last night. I better play really good so I don't get accosted anymore is very low. So just don't do it. That's all.
I also, if, like, it's not maybe the most well-known information, but, when this team was performing a lot better, maybe 10 years ago, dinners with the owner and family, holidays together with key players was a regular occurrence with this ownership, and you can take that as a positive or as a negative, but that's what they did. And I have no qualms with this. And if we're going to keep talking about somebody getting fired or somebody losing their job for poor performance, and it comes down to ownership going to the franchise player who's making the most, some of the most money on the team, and say, hey, get to take a temperature check? I'm all for that. You think he's going to get an honest temperature check from Travis Green? Oh, yeah, the players, they're just not responding. You think you're going to get an honest temperature check from Jim Benning? Probably not.
Or maybe they just went for coffee and he just wants
maybe
to
exactly
talk
that.
to the dude. I don't know. Like, who cares? That's there between
You know
them.
who I used to see in the wild all the time?
Who?
Arthur Griffiths. Do you know how many times I took his photo?
None?
0.
There we have it.
I talked to Ryan.
Because you can do that.
Yeah. I told Ryan this last summer, Jim Benning was in Deep Cove going for dinner with his entire family.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there, and I could have zoomed in and taken how many? No, dude, let the dude have dinner. Like, just let him have I'm sorry, I'm really, like, ramped up about this because it infuriates me. He deserves to sit and have pasta with his family at a restaurant without you having to be like, why are you having pasta? Pasta's for winners. Like, just stop. Like, there's so much time in the day that they were available for you to scream how much you hate them. But just, one's a center iceman and another one is, okay, kind of problematic owner, but at the same time, people, So I'm just saying, give them a bit of space.
The real victim is the server who put him next to that large bay window. They should know better than that.
They should have known better. Our vantage point to take photos was so minimal. They should have known better. How dare they?
Where were they, guys? Where were they dining?
I couldn't figure it out. It looked so confusing, like maybe a hotel lobby or something.
This just in. Swedish fascist Elias Pettersson ordered whole milk in his latte. What? Does he not care about Mother Earth? Like, what? Fuck me, dude. Like,
well,
tilted.
All right. Well, that's it for the Canucks talk this week.
I don't want to talk about the Canucks anymore.
We're done talking about the Canucks because that's literally all we talked about last week. And last week, Geeta, when you weren't here, Arash and I just dove in head first.
I listened.
Thank you very much, as you would expect. And we put the
back
call
to
out.
the CFL, where really, guys, I just think that if the BC Lions want to turn this around, we got to bring back Wally. We got to figure out where Wally Buono is. And you know what? We got to see. You know what? And people are going to hate me for this. People are going to hate me. But I'm going to say it. Because on this podcast, I know Geeta's looking at me being like, where is this going? And am I vamping? No. This is for comedic effect only. But I'm just saying, Baker Mayfield isn't doing too hot in Cleveland. So why don't BC Lions call out Baker Mayfield and be like, they got to get him.
Same colors.
That'd be so
But yes, we will fix the CFL on next week's podcast. That is our promise to you. But we promised last week that if you reached out and said we need to spend time on another team, and like I said off my Schaapy ending, there's a lot of teams in this league that are doing a lot of incredible things. Hell, we're spending so much time watching the Canucks put us to sleep and just make us miserable that, like, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are going to score. Leon Draisaitl is going to score 50 and 50.
Yeah.
Everything, like, amazing things are happening. And we put the call out saying, hey, is there a team that we should cover? And I believe the first person to respond that I read was E Prime, who's a Red Wings fan. and he said, talk about the dang Detroit Red Wings, which is what we're going to do.
Let's talk about a man with a plan. A man who very evidently in a time right after the summer had Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes in a Michigan bar and said, "Hey, guess what?"
Within his grasp.
In his grasp, and he just told him, "Listen, guys, you need to poison the well, and if you poison the well, I can get you to Detroit." But you look at what Detroit is doing, man. Like, oh my God, like their pain is now actually meaning something.
Yeah, and
like you look at Lucas Raymond, you look at Moritz Seider, Dylan Larkin has a new energy. Tyler Bertuzzi didn't take the Bill Gates vaccine, and he's thriving because, trust me, we are the most anti-vax podcast you can find. And they have this platoon system with Thomas Greiss and Alex Nedeljkovic and Troy Stetcher's like sometimes getting healthy scratch, but it's fine.
You just said that they have this plan. And one thing I love about the Detroit Red Wings is where like Dylan Larkin has been their next guy for many years. He's their captain right now. But Steve Yzerman's been pretty vocal and open, being like, hell, this rebuild might take a couple more years. We might have Dylan, you might have to be expendable because, we need to get the most for you out of this. It's like other teams that don't have plans when they're talking about players that, maybe have 1 or 2 years left in their prime. They're looking at guys like Dylan Larkin and being, listen, you're amazing. It's like he's their Gerard Gallant, who was this dominant point producer and goal scorer for the Red Wings in the 80s and early 90s. And it's like, well, shit, we're not ready yet, so we're going to trade you. Steve Yzerman has a plan. He knows it's going to take long. Nothing is hot-shotted.
And no one's going to rip him off on a deal. And I told you guys this before. No one's calling up Steve Yzerman and pretending that he's an idiot.
No.
They're calling, knowing that he's smarter than them.
Yeah.
And you like the Anthony Mantha trade line. Jakub Vrana is, I believe, still injured. You look at that deal. Trades Anthony Mantha for Jakub Vrana, I believe a first and a second. You look at JT Miller, and I know we're not talking about the Canucks, but any team like that is in a situation where they need to move an proven asset down is usually looking at like, we're going to take a first and a third. How Steve Yzerman managed to be like, yeah, we're going to take your also young 20-goal scoring winger, and you're giving us a first, and you're giving us a second. Madness, because you sit there on the phone with him, and you're like, I don't want to make myself look like an idiot in front of Steve, so I'm going to give him extra stuff, so he knows I respect him.
And it's exactly the case for all of those deals he's making, and he's just acquiring the right type of players at the right time. Nedeljkovic and I can never pronounce his name, but yeah, Thomas Greiss. No, the first name. Nedeljkovic?
Nedeljkovic.
Yeah, they're playing fine. This is a Red Wings team. Like, again, it was one of those short-sighted previews of a team. Oh, they'll be terrible because they were terrible last year. They were terrible the year before. They're going to keep being terrible. And now, you know what? They're believing in Bladshill's system, which seems to be a common trend. You know what? You might not have the best team on paper or what you think, but for a team to believe in what you're doing, everybody wanted him fired last year, and they didn't do it because Yzerman believes in him and likes what he's seeing from them.
Yeah,
it's great to see. And the Red Wings currently have 10. The Red Wings themselves have drafted 10 players in their current lineup, and it's like and they also have a lot of Tampa Bay Lightning drafted players, which I find a little intriguing.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great. He's like washing Tampa's money.
Yeah, but if you've done something right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at Detroit, and I believe they also acquired Nick Leddy from the Islanders.
Yep.
So he's, Steve Yzerman's saying to himself, okay, I'm going to also acquire players from cash-strapped teams that aren't necessarily going to be anchors, but they have short enough term and, high enough cap hit where I can acquire an asset for next to nothing that's going to help my team, not hinder them, but also not going to leave me with so much term left on a deal where it's going to be a hindrance. Like, it's
Right.
I said, like, I keep talking about it, like, the being an NHL GM is running a franchise not easy, but some people make it seem so much harder.
Yeah.
Like, stuff that you see, it should be, it's a copycat league. You see other people doing it. There's no rules on telling you can't do that. There's no one saying, like, why do you have to be like, I have to make my own system and I have to do. No, just copy Steve. See what Steve's doing.
Just do what Steve's doing.
Just do what Steve's doing.
Hire a smart guy to answer the phone for you. This is Lawrence for I don't know, the guy that we're not talking about that team anymore, but you get a Lawrence Gilman, you answer the phone, you try to sound as smart as you can.
I have a brilliant thing.
Yeah.
The amount of money, guys, we could make. All we have to do is load all of Steve Yzerman's moves into like an AI, like one of those bots, and just have a bot run a team. Just a Steve Yzerman bot. Amazing.
I mean, he's there's enough data out there on him. It's gonna work.
I love the Red Wings, man. They're also the best jerseys in the best jerseys in the NHL. Detroit.
You don't think it's New Jersey?
The jersey. Man, what jersey pants?
Did they know what they were doing?
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to be like they wanted to cash in on that whole like what was it, the Danbury Thrashers thing, where they wanted to be like, hey, the Mafia. It didn't really work out. But Detroit, I don't know. I feel like the Red Wings have the best. That logo's insane.
They're tremendous jerseys. They're probably the best out of the original 6. And again, there's not much to dislike about that franchise and that ownership. And that concludes a solid 5+ minutes on the Detroit Red Wings. We had some other nominations, including the New York Islanders, who just moved into a new building. They're not playing the best. They're already talking about letting Barry Trotz go in Long Island. And hey, up here.
Don't do that. It's always a mistake to let him go.
They are destroyed by injuries.
Yeah, they are very banged up, and their whole defense core is pretty banged up. Uncle Leo retired to go back to Russia, and the other team we were requested to discuss outside of a bunch of cricket and Aussie rules football teams in the Discord, which was very funny. The Columbus Blue Jackets, who they're without Torts. They're banged up pretty good, and Patrick Laine is injured right now, and unfortunately his dad passed away, which is so sad.
It is real. Yep. Very sad.
And the Canucks will play them this week, won't they?
Yeah.
Right. So they're gonna go to Columbia. They're just gonna get wicked ripped, right? Like Jack Roslovic is gonna be like, "Oi, give me the puck, mate." They're gonna rip it block aside, and Demko got a heady. Made it seem so easy, man. I don't know.
A little bit of house cleaning here. Alex Edler is playing. Alex Edler is 35 years old. Head coaches love Alex Edler because of injuries in LA. He's playing about 20, 22 minutes a night. So, that's interesting. It's funny to see that some things never change with him.
He got his 100th.
He got his 100th goal.
He got his 100th goal.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Wearing Matthias Olin's number 2.
Yeah, very true.
And there is
I hope he's happy.
I hope so.
He's got to be happy. Anywhere but here is happy.
Could you imagine if Edler had signed up for like another year for this? I'm glad he's in LA.
Yeah.
I'm glad everyone that isn't here is not here, so they can be happier.
Save yourself.
Except for Tyler Toffoli. He's not having a very good year.
Well, he brought that upon himself.
Yeah. And there's some NHL to Quebec talks heating up, which could just be political posturing.
Who are they moving now?
Oh, the Coyotes are technically homeless, I think, at the end of this year. And they're trying to get an arena built in Tempe by the airport. And it feels like a Winnipeg Jets situation where it's like very hush-hush talks, nothing really happening. And then right before the draft, it's like, hey, Winnipeg has a hockey team now, and they'll name them at the draft.
That's really funny because they are the original Winnipeg Jets.
This is true.
Geeta, you just blew my mind.
I don't ever trust what Quebec is doing. They're always trying to say something just so they can separate. Why everything is part of the bigger plan in Quebec.
In Quebec.
Quebec.
Well, let's head to some questions, and we'll wrap this pod up. Yerky 21's been mentioned a couple times, so we'll just ask this one. Do you think the inexplicable lack of green in the Canucks logo heralds a lack of green behind the bench?
Whoa, that's deep.
Sure.
Wait, have they just phased the green out of the jerseys?
There's never been green in the logo, and apparently that offends some people.
Oh, wow. We've reached this point, eh? Where we're dived into such a degree of madness where we're like Jim Carrey in that movie 23, where we're like, everything's 23. There's no green. Where's the green?
Why are the seats still maroon?
Why are they still maroon?
Do you know what it would cost to change all the seats? There's 18,600 seats. That would cost like $1 million.
Oh, dude, I have a seat guy back in Iran. Just call me. I know. I'll hook you up.
It's like, don't look here. Look over here.
Look over here.
Plus, I mean, the camera only faces half the ice. Just do that half with blue or green.
That's actually a genius idea.
Dressing it for TV, baby.
Genius.
Marsh Math. This is a good little question, and hopefully, got something for each. What strange or random change would you make on the Canucks if you suddenly had the power to change something?
Oh, like wait. He means like strange.
Anything you want.
What does that mean?
If I could do one thing.
Like their history?
Ooh.
He gives an example.
Yeah.
He goes, he'd go to the flying skate full time. He'd change the seats inside the arena to black and yellow and red.
Oh.
I would eliminate those two riots so people could never reference them ever again.
This is all the Fraser Valley's fault. They took the Sky Train in. They said, win or lose, we're going to flip cars. How dare they? And it's true. That's what happened. Let's be honest.
Arash, what are you changing?
We need to agree on this.
It was anarchist.
We need to argue or we need to agree on this. What happened during the 2011 riots were rowdy-ass fucking people from the Fraser Valley came in. Win or lose, they were going to riot.
Yeah, I always say I was downtown after they won in Game 5, and I was walking around, and it was even though they won, it was a dark energy. So you knew something was going to happen. Yeah. So yeah, win or lose, cars were getting flipped.
Let's see. What strange change would I make to the team that would make them better? Oh, man. Okay, I have an idea. I would turn Crazy P to, like, Depressed P. So instead of banging the thing, he just shows up to a section being like, you guys know that there's nothing we can do about the climate that's already happened, right? Even if we change now, there's nothing we can do.
I wish you would just ban him.
Oh, I think he's hilarious.
I haven't banned anybody this week.
Oh,
no, you haven't.
Don't ban Crazy P. He's just so crazy. You can't blame him.
No,
crazy.
I'm doing the first person this year to take somebody off the banned list.
Oh no.
Oh.
I'm taking Travis Green off the banned list.
Get out of town. I just put him on the list.
Yeah, I'm taking him off.
Oh, okay. All right.
I didn't realize he was on the banned list.
All right. You know what, guys? No.
What if next week I just put him back?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Oh, okay. Civil War. You want Civil War. That's what's happening with the Canucks. That's what's happening in Pucks on Net. Guys, Pucks on Net is now going into Civil War. Geeta and I have sided against Ryan Schaap and his dad. All right, Ryan Schaap is essentially Iron Man. Geeta and I'm going to be Winter Soldier. Geeta's Captain America. Is it problematic that an Iranian and an Indian individual are taking over your white heroes? Now we got a Civil War with us and the listener because they're like, everything's a Civil War now. Wait, we should have a hashtag. Be like, hashtag. Oh, fuck. What should our Civil War hashtags be, guys?
PON Civil War 2K21.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no.
PON Civil War.
Yeah.
Rash, do you have a thing you would change?
I just
About the
did.
Canucks?
I just did.
What was it?
Turning Crazy Pete into Depressed Pete.
Right. I'm apologies. I got to. I feel like an idiot now because I was about to ban him.
Get the wheels back on the bus, Chef.
Wait, you never explained why you unbanned Travis.
Yeah, why are
Green.
you unbanning Travis Green? He got 40 shots on net. What more do you want him to do?
I'm unbanning him so that I can criticize him because God damn it, you're so right. He should stay on the ban list because it's not his fault. I'm officially banning paparazzi. I'm officially banning harassing Vancouver Canucks staff and players after hours.
There you go. Good
You
job,
got me
Tony.
back on the track.
You know, Tony, when we made the Avengers, they were supposed to be for good, and I hope you remember that.
Here's one question from Travis Elliott. With the holiday as approaching, what is on the Christmas list of each PON pod member?
Is this like a personal gift or is this a gift for the league?
It could be whatever you want. My Christmas gift for Geeta would be or for Reed would be a second laptop charger.
Got him. Well, Ryan and I are in special situations because our birthdays are also in December.
Yeah.
So all you scumbags for 11 months that didn't have to buy us gifts are now trying to con us into being like, well, we'll just get you a slightly bigger Christmas gift. No. You had 11. This is how credit cards work. You bought something, and then down the line, you just kick the can. The Canucks are kick this can for 8 years down the road. Now you got to pay. November 20th or 22nd, 2021, you got to pay. What do I want?
Arash, when's your birthday?
December 14th. Same day as my father.
Interesting.
Yeah, we have both the same birthday. My mom
Do you get one cake?
Yeah, we always do stuff like, I always love celebrating my dad's birthday. My mom continually makes the joke to me that like she held me in as a birthday present to my dad. And I know how sweet that is, but I also retort, Mom, I'm not like a poop. You couldn't just hold me in. Like I was coming when I'm coming. You can't tap. She wasn't tapping on the belly, but just being like, can you wait? And I'm like, oh, Gucci. Also, House of Gucci. Out November 23rd, tomorrow. Go watch it. Sure. I don't know. What do I want for Christmas?
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I want to watch it. What do I want for Christmas? A MacBook Air. They were on sale, and I need a new laptop for work.
Geeta, what about you?
That's me.
I don't know what I want this year. I'm good. A vacation.
Yes.
Like one where you get on an airplane and go somewhere warm.
Yes. The marvels of as much as we had such a good weekend together, but the novelty of touring this climate, and it's like, it's still raining here. Give me some sort of blast of warm tropical air when you get off a plane. Might be taking precedent.
Yeah.
I need a Christmas present. I sound like a spoiled child. I need a Christmas present.
PS5.
Yeah. Everybody knows your history with Christmas.
Yeah, I'm a Christmas ruiner. I am not. I don't have a lot. I only have a Amazon wish list of records 45 deep, so I can't think of anything right now. Man, what would I want for Christmas? Another Derek Pouliot stick, so I could have two.
Wow. I think I found our depressed P, guys, and it's Ryan. Show up to Rogers after the road trip, Ryan. We got a job for you. You guys remember Derek Pouliot?
Finally, my neighbor, Peter, he asks, how can Benning be this bad at his job and still be employed 8 years later? None of us would have that same situation for whatever company we work for. 2 years max.
Yeah, white privilege.
I mean, that sounds
NHL
like fun.
and white privilege.
Or it's a government job.
Yeah.
You never lose
But
those.
I like mediocre white male.
Yeah. This job, no one can do this job as good as us. Stuff gets hard. Well, this job's hard. Fuck it, that's it. I said it like 5 weeks in a row. This is literally what it is. God damn it! And I'm tilted.
On that white privilege note, I think we'll wrap up the podcast this week. We didn't spend the whole time talking about the Canucks, which is great. I feel it's like I feel like I'm ready to talk about another team. I'm ready to watch another team. I'm going to be watching Connor McDavid as much as possible and Alex Ovechkin scoring goals. He's got 745. We'll put a pin in that there. I want to thank everybody for listening. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter at pucksonnetca or pucksonnetca. If you want to support the show monetarily, you can head on over to patreon.com/pucksonnet, where you can pledge a couple of bucks.
Hi, sir. Can you stop calling the Canucks team store? We currently are unavailable to give you any more Derek Pouliot game-worn sticks. Thank you.
They just give them to you.
They knew, they saw me coming. We're gonna give these away.
Ryan is like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank, where he keeps sending the letters to the government to send him books for the library, and so he keeps sending the Canucks team store about getting sticks. And then one day they send him 3, being like, "We're done. We feel like this fulfills your requirement. Please stop contacting us."
If you want to help support my Derek Pouliot game stick habit, you head on over to patreon.com/pucksonnet, pledge a couple of bucks. Once again, we want to thank Roger for pledging $5 a month American. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if you want to get instant access to all our bonus content, our video podcast, 5 minutes for paying, just about everything, head on over to patreon.com/pucksonnet. Hey, remember, folks, it's free to look. Go check it out. And if you don't want to support us on Patreon, just go to your podcast provider, give us a rating, give us a review, help tell a friend, spread the word, hand out a business card to somebody that's smoking in the bathroom at Rogers Arena, because both times I've gone to the Rogers Arena to go to a Canucks game, there have been dudes smoking in the bathroom.
Wait, smoking or vaping?
Smoking?
What?
Just hacking darts. It's like a Metallica concert.
Like, I can get, like, your vaping in the stall.
No.
But, like, hacking a dart?
Yeah. Just
I don't know, man.
And you didn't tell on them?
I should have told them about the podcast. Sir, I need an adult. There's somebody smoking in here.
If you're not Crazy P smoking?
Yeah, so if you're, make sure you tell a friend when you're ratting out on somebody smoking in the bathroom at Rogers Arena. And other than that, just expand your mind this week. Try not to get too down on the Canucks, because I think the apathy you're feeling, it's not just seasonal affective disorder. We're all a little gassed on this piece of crap franchise. So put a pin in that. We're going to try to, and we'll come back next week, hopefully with something a little more joyous to talk about.
Yeah, tweet me about your hottest takes about how you'd fix the CFL. I'm actually, I want my phone to be bombarded with takes about what to do to save the CFL.
Blue bombarded? Shit, sorry.
Good night, guys.
That was rough. Rough Rider.
That was a rough rider.